So Host started 30 years ago. We were born firstly in Austria, and then we came to Portugal, where we have our main headquarters. And we started to be a PMS-oriented company. So we were super focused on making sure that the operations were more efficient and effective as well. So in the beginning, we developed all the solutions for managing the operation, from the PMS to the POS to the system to manage events, or even just to manage the wellness. And we did all the growth until to reach in markets such as Portugal and the Portuguese-speaking countries, more than 2,000 clients. Apart from that, we have right now representation in 12 countries, and we have been growing a lot in the last couple of years. Of course, when you talk about in a technology wise, people always ask me what makes us unique. Well, first, we are a cloud-based company since 2010, so really early days when we started, and we started to make everything unified in just one single database, which creates us unique view about the client. And by the end, what started to happen with us was we started to invest in several companies that were going to make the experience much more personalized. So back in the days, we invested in a company called Clever Hospitality Analytics in the beginning, super focused in making sure that data was much more easy to understand, that you were able to create your dashboards, that you were not depending on the generic reporting. After that, with the pandemic, we invested as well in Profile Now. Profile Now is basically a company that we qualify as a CRM or a GMS, a guest management system software, quite focused in making sure that you are creating a unique view of the client, that you can create on top of that loyalty programs, communication that is quite segmented, and also for example, the usage of the vouchers. So making sure that instead of having so much focus on the reservations, you have much more focus on the guest profile. And after that, we also invested in another brand called A Travel, which is focused on the distribution side of it. So quite oriented for the channel management perspective, for the creation of the booking engines as well. So in terms of unique value proposition, with all this ecosystem that is all 100% independent, we were able to create, hundreds and hundreds of integrations from one side. From the other side, we are able to make the data flow smoothly between all the different systems, which by the end of the day helps hotels and hotel chains to be much more effective, efficient, and of course, being able to use the power of their own data, which is for us very important, not only for now, but for the future. And since, of course, we started to come from the PMS side of it, and we started to invest then on the channel manager and the CRM perspective, of course, we went through the different products to improve the guest experiences, from what we call the Key Pass, which is our web app for hotels, the online check-in, the kiosks. So everything to make sure that much more than just create a wonderful PMS, we are able to create wonderful solutions to improve the way that the hotel or the hotel chain is able to connect it and engage with the client. So when you talk about data right now is fundamental for us. It's actually why we invested in Clever Hospitality Analytics 7 years ago almost. So I guess that we invested in the time that there were almost no solutions for the BI. So in that sense, I really believe that data is really fundamental. So what we are doing on that side. So from one end, as I said, on Clever Hospitality Analytics, we are able to create powerful dashboards that includes not only the data from the PMS and the POS, and that you can create your own reporting and generate some insights with that. But we also went to start to accumulate data from the flights with some partnerships, for example, from the RPs. Then we went also in the last couple of years to the sustain analytics, so the data for the sustainability. So making sure that again we were able to provide really powerful dashboards. And in the last couple of years, as I said, we also started to invest in generate much more data regarding the profile. So right now we are creating some algorithms to analyze, for example, things like what are the profiles that are more willing to cancel the reservations. With that, automatically apply some communications campaigns. So what we are trying to make sure is to start using some algorithms on top of all the data from the hotel that we are generate. And in that sense, much more than just tell to the hotelier that something is happening, we are able to generate some outputs, not only in an automatic perspective where the hotelier simply doesn't need to do anything, or simply just making appearing some pop-ups in different solutions for the client to see what is happening. As I said, right now talking about data, even in terms of the profiling is fundamental. For example, when you talk about different hotels from the hotel chain, that a lot of times what happen in the different solutions in the market is to have a lot of fragmented data that is just synchronized. So we started to invest much more on tools to hygienize the data, to make it cleaning, to make it useful. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that there are no silos, that all the data is being useful. We can talk again from the operational side of it, looking for the profile data, looking for again the connections with other tools. So again, we really believe that in the future we need to be much more the central space for you as hotelier to analyze data and to give you some outputs. So we are investing a lot in making sure that somehow we are optimizing that sense. So just to give you another example, in one of our invested brands, A Travel, within the channel manager, we started to create some small tools to optimize your yields, such as, for example, looking for example, the occupancy of the hotel, and accordingly that making the prices go higher, lower, close sales in a specific channel, etc. So much more than just generate powerful spaces for you as hotelier to see the data. We are also trying to give you the benefits of with some algorithms to be able to automatically have some behaviors such as again pop-ups for you, eventually communication direct to the client. So make it useful in that sense. In the distribution side of it, hoteliers have been changing a lot in the last couple of years. So again, back in the days, we were all about offline reservations. Then we went to super powerful but also complex solutions such as the CRS, and suddenly we started to have more and more solutions as a channel manager. For us, when you talk about channel manager, I believe that the most important part is to make sure that we are really the central part of the distribution, meaning that we cannot only look for rates, we need to make the life of the hotelier much easier, such as, for example, make it available for the hotelier to, for example, change the content, having access to the reviews, having access to the spaces to analyze how they are comparing with the region. So in terms of channel management, or the channel manager in this case, what we are making sure is that you can really have access to everything that you'll be doing in the different dashboards from the OTAs and the tour operators. Apart from that, we started to invest a lot in the easiest way to create rates or how to making dependent. So we started to do a lot of different screens to make you able to change things in just 1, 2, 3 clicks. Even a couple of minutes ago, I was just talking with the hotelier that was saying, "Oh, with A Travel, my life like it's much easier because with just one click I can change prices, or in this case rates, super quickly. Or well, in that case, he was saying me that with the solution that they were using, he was spending much more time. So for us, the user experience was one of the most important parts. Secondly, as I said, we started to bring for the tool things such as, for example, the promotions from the OTAs back to us. We started to increase or to have some yield optimizer tools in order to make sure that you can play a bit with your occupancy and the price, your occupancy and where you are making sales. And even when you are talking about hotels that don't want to change prices on the PMS and they want to do everything on the channel manager, make it useful and simple to create a manual reservation within the channel manager. So again, if we look for the channel manager side of it, we started to make sure that as a revenue manager, you don't need to be always playing between the different systems. And of course, we started to integrate with a huge number of tools, from the RMSs to tools that are just doing some rate shopping and automatically bringing their knowledge for the platform and not just sending to them data. So for us, that was what made us, in my opinion, very unique. And again, since we were able also to get a lot of knowledge from the PMS side of it, from the CRM side of it, we were able to bring most of the data to the PMS or wherever it is. Okay, I'm not talking about only about host. So making sure that if there is a booking engine which whom we are connected, that suddenly they have a loyalty program, we are able to send all the data. So again, we are trying to make sure that we are first easy to use, which is very important, that we have multi-property concepts in order for you as hotel chain just change one thing and suddenly all the properties are changed. Also making the data flowing quickly and easily between our system, and in that sense we are able to manage much better the different kind of hotels, different kind of hotel chains, and of course the different tour operators and OTAs. So even when you talk about some agencies that they are not connected through the OTA models, we started to create some tools to push that reservations to us, and of course the connection with the amazing tools like Hyperguest in order to make sure that we have as much connectivity as needed, and of course from the hotel side that they can simply play a little bit more with the different channels that are available right now. It's very important, this conversation. Like I said, in the last years, we finally saw our amazing industry looking for the CRMs. And in Profile now, we were quite concerned in the beginning, creating some tools for hoteliers to have really quality data. So I personally believe that most of us, when you talk about CRMs, I see most of the hoteliers just looking for powerful email marketing tools, which is very different from what I really believe. So we, in Profile now, everything started to make sure that we were able to hygienize data as much as we can, trying to make sure that we were looking for the duplicated data, trying to make sure that we were able to deliver to the front office manager, to the hotel manager, the spaces where they were having more difficulties to collect it. This was for us the first pillar, and for me it's crucial. If you are not good creating good data quality, all the rest will not work. So for us, this was for sure our first pillar. After that, we started to create within the CRM and within Profile now the capability to create a single view of the client. So collecting all the data from the PMS side, the POS side, the bookings on the events, the data about the consumptions, and also we started to include some external data, such as, for example, again, the marketing tools, the chatbots tools, the Wi-Fi tools, even, of course, the loyalty program from us and from other partners. So in our point of view, was crucial to make sure that we were getting as much data as we can. And as we started to add all this data, we start to get some ideas about what are the main interests from the clients that are with us. So, example, if I know that a specific client is already drinking two gin tonics in the same day in the bar, eventually I already know that if I be sending any communication to that client for an happy hour in the bar, eventually I don't need to talk about just the happy hour. I can be a little bit more precise in talking about a gin tonic. So for us, this was fundamental. For one side, to create a single view, meaning a screen where you were able to understand all the main characteristics of the clients, that we were able to bring all the data from the different partners, but also to create some dashboards for you to understand and to get some insights. So, for example, you can go there and say, well, I want to understand from, for example, the Spanish people between 16 and 25, what are the average stay, or what is eventually the amount that they spend in the ancillary revenue, so meaning in the other parts that are not accumulation. So we are able to create powerful dashboards also for you to understand if your segmentation should be improving or not. Then we move to the communication part of it. So we started to within the system to provide email, SMS, WhatsApp marketing tools for you to automatize as much as you can through all the different guest journey. So of course you can start to communicate even when just a person goes to your website and you are collecting the email, understanding that if the person is not buying but already select the room, sending communication on that. For example, personalizing the communication if there is a repeated customer or not for the check-in online purposes, collecting a review after the stay, sending WhatsApp messages during the stay to promote just a more close relationship between the client and the hotel. So these were things that were very, very concerned, and also at the same time make it easy to create campaigns. So you just need to save your campaign targets. You have not only a huge amount of templates created, but you can also create your own with a CMS tool, so quite easy in order to communicate in the best way possible. And on top of that, we also started to create our loyalty solution, so making it easier to play, easy to define loyalty programs that are not only looking for the direct reservations. Because when you talk about loyalty, well, we can talk about the loyalty customer, take consideration or giving points, looking, for example, for the consumption on the bar, or for the sales, or from the person where was buying from our website, or from OTA, or even if they were just a group reservation. So we were able to play on that side. And of course, on top of that, again, we were able to create the automatic sending of vouchers. So a lot of tools, again, to make sure that we were on the path to create the hyper personalization that we all believe, I guess, in the industry, that is the future. Again, we always look for the companies from the flies, and well, we are seeing that in the last 15 years or so. And our idea is to be able to bring some of these technologies for hotels and hotel chains. And the capability to make the operation efficient. I really believe that there are a lot of topics that we need to understand. First, the technology should not be a block, right? So we know that there is a huge turnover in this industry. So we started to make sure that the training was easy to get, that you were able to get all the tools to make this turnover easy to understand, and well, people focusing in what really matters, right? So, and understanding with the client, getting some insights before that, in order to be able, well, to do what us as humans really want, right? To create relationships. So that was for us fundamental. So as I said, in terms of the PMS side, we started to create tools that were able to be very important for resorts kind of properties. So, for example, creating capabilities to manage quickly reservations from tour operators that were not linked to the channel manager, working quickly with blocks, with allotments, with owners when there is a timeshare kind of model. So our idea was with a unique database to make this all accessible to the author, to the auto chain. And for us, this was very important. And on top of that, since we had already a huge knowledge from the client, and there is more and more the capability to be more personalized with the guests, we started to create some tools, for example, for the online check-in, to make the document reading from the passport, for example, much easier with just the digitalization within the online check-in, instead of using the old way with the machines on the reception. We created also as well the kiosks to make the payment receivable much easier. We invested as well on the sending of forms to get feedback and getting I'm repeating, getting this data back to the system. So for us, delivering exceptional service, I guess that you need to understand that there are a huge number of spaces or teams within the hotel, and we were trying to collect different features for each of them. Again, we can work on the digitalization of the guest experience. We can work on how can we make the people from finance much happier with the connections with the RPs and make it easier. We can talk about the stocks management in the POS perspective, and how we could make some communications when we are having some lack of products, or just a few units for you to know. So we have been trying last couple of years to make the work of each of the spaces much easier. Again, just an example, in terms of housekeeping, right now we try to promote with our clients the usage of the PMS just for the housekeeping people, for them to be able to quickly say, yes, it's already not dirty, yes, it's inspected. So instead of using paper, we were also able to make, for example, the people that are just receiving people on the breakfast much easier with the tools to be able to understand, okay, how many meal plans, okay, this is red, it is as well. So again, I know that when PMSs we could be here like hours, but we are always trying to make the user experience better, and not only for the guest side with our tools for the guest experience, but also for the different departments that the hotel has. Again, from the finance to the housekeeping to the maintenance to the front office. And again, with these 30 years, we invested a lot to make unique features, to make it fast, to make it easier, and to make the staff focus in what really matters. That is to create this exceptional service.